Good morning. Philippians 4, verse 2 and 3 give us a window into disagreement within the local church. And I think there's a lot here for us. Verse 2 is real short, but I think it's worthy of us giving a thought for the day on verse 2. Paul says, I entreat, and he has two women, Euodia and Syntyche. Euodia and Syntyche, to agree in the Lord. That's the end of the verse. He's calling two women who are not getting along to a place of agreement. Now, some things to note. Euodia, the name means prosperous journey. Syntyche means accident. And so it's a little bit of a play on words here, right? One of you is heading along and the other is cutting them off. A prosperous journey is turning into an accident. You're at cross purposes here. I entreat Euodia and Syntyche, who are at cross purposes right now, to agree. That's not all he says. To agree in the Lord. So you might be in a disagreement with someone in the church. You might be in a disagreement with someone in your home. I mean, those are real life examples, right? In the home, sometimes the frequency brings about a kind of shortness and brevity and clippedness and curtness. It produces disagreement. In the church, sometimes the stakes feel high and it feels like this really matters, this really matters. And the other person says, well, it does matter, but not in the same way, or it matters to a different degree, or a different issue needs to be above that issue. And so the stakes feel high. So sometimes it's the stakes and sometimes it's the familiarity, and we have disagreements. Your job is not to try to get them to think like you, or to all of a sudden go, oh, I guess I have to think like them. It's rather to let the epicenter of your agreement be outside of you and that person. The epicenter of agreement is the Lord. You're supposed to say, now, wait a minute. Our unity is not in us getting on the same page. It's us getting on the Lord's page. It's us finding our agreement in that which we share, which is always more than that which separates us. Even if that which separates you might be significant, that which you share is more, right? So it doesn't necessarily mean that the issues go away. And it doesn't mean that they don't need to be processed. And it doesn't mean that they're unimportant. But what it does mean is that you squaring with the Lord and them squaring with the Lord, and you celebrating around that gospel, that epicenter of unity outshines, it speaks louder than that which you're disagreeing about. Is there ever a time to separate? Of course there's a time to separate. But that time to separate is usually when the gospel is getting compromised to one degree or another. Here he's saying, listen, let's focus on what you agree on first. The Lord Jesus. The Lord Jesus who was humbled at the cross. The Lord Jesus who took on your shame. The Lord Jesus who rose from the grave. The Lord Jesus who ascended and is exalted. Agree in the Lord. Focus on him and less on getting that person to map onto you. That's the first step toward peace. Not the only step, but that's the first step toward peace. Prosperous journey, accident. Hey, you guys, why don't you focus on the Lord and not each other? May the Lord help us do that when we come upon disagreements in our lives with fellow believers. Take care.